This is the BROADSCAST. We have Rian Wilkinson, who's here, finally joining us after qualifying Wales to a historic first Euro happening next summer. So congrats, Rian. We have Claire Rustad, who is here, and we have a special guest. We have Olympic gold medalist, defensive stalwart on Canada's backline, performer of the best goal celebrations in club football, Vanessa Gilles. Hi, Vanessa. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
I'm good. I could have made that a lot longer. Yeah. Could have really embarrassed you. We're planning on embarrassing Rian later on in the show.
Oh, no.
But usually that's a common thread. But honestly, how are you doing? Great. That's awesome. But how did those elaborate Lyon celebrations come to be? Are they always kind of in the works? So we're getting into the important stuff right off the top.
It's a good question. I think we have like a really fun group. First of all, so I think we could see that on the pitch and in our celebrations. But I think Dan and I just get really bored and we send each other stuff we find on Instagram. And, you know, a lot of people think we practice, but we really don't. So I'm glad a lot of those things came off because most of the time it's like 20 minutes before game time that we just say, let's try it out. If it works, we'll do it in a game. And there's one that we're planning, which is a little bit risky, which I'm glad neither of us have really scored in the past few games. Dan did score a banger, but we were all a bit tired at that point. So we'll see if that one comes off. Hopefully it does.
You know, I feel like from a risk management standpoint, like you guys are really throwing caution to the wind because you've had the classic Dirty Dancing one. You've had another one that was very gymnastics and like it was asking a lot of both of you. So I mean the bar is set now. People are looking to you guys to lead the charge.
I will say Dan is very trusting in me, which I appreciate. I don't know if it's warranted. But she, you know, you gotta be brave to be flung around like that. And
also light.
She's always a willing participant. Yeah, which I love about her.
Yeah, she seems light and also live and game. You need to be a gamer, and both of you guys seem like you're gamers.
Yes, I will say she's light but mighty. She's very sturdy. That one, which makes it easier.
Any woman likes to be described.
That's right. I've never been described that way, but I have a Scottish mother-in-law, and she'd say wee but wiry. Wee but wiry. All right.
I don't compliment her often, so she would take it as a compliment if she heard it.
I love that. Okay, so getting into the nitty-gritty now, if you had to describe 2024 in one word, what would that word be, Vanessa Gilles?
You can have more than one. Amy's
no, just the one. No, Vanessa's told us she has 4 hours.
Interesting, just interesting. Unexpected. Good one.
She can use more than one.
Very unexpected. That's 2.
We'll allow it. Yeah. But like, are you feeling now like you played Wolfsburg a couple of days ago? The draw inexplicably for the quarterfinals of the Women's Champions League are only happening, I think, in February, which doesn't make sense. But at least we know now what the schedule is going to look like for the 2027 Women's World Cup, which is refreshing from a FIFA point of view. But are you feeling the weight of everything that's happened? Because you've had an absolutely extraordinary year for you as an individual, and the way that your play has just risen to the occasion time and time again for club and for country, but also some challenges, obviously. So are you feeling the weight of all of that in kind of the mental and the physical fatigue at this point, the end of 2024?
I think, you know, you kind of mentioned 2024 being in some ways great, but for me individually, it's been pretty disappointing. I think when you reach like a Champions League final and then you lose and you also kind of score an own goal, that kind of sticks with you. And then the Olympics speaks for themselves. So yeah, I think individually I've done what I can to help and to, you know, get those trophies and those medals, and we've come up short. So yeah, it's been a disappointing year in that aspect because you come so close, yet you don't have anything really to show for it. But yeah, hopefully 2025 will be a better year, and we'll have more to show for it as well.
I think, Vanessa, it's amazing to hear you say that, because I think a lot of people from outside, they look at the positions you've been in, and then it's incredible, right, to be in a Champions League final. But the story of Vanessa Gilles is one of my favorites, and I think you articulated it so well with the coming Canadian League and the opportunities that it's going to give Canadians that you were in need of, and only the fact that I think is your father's passport.
Yeah,
Was it that got you your career really going and now you're in these positions where you're disappointed, of course, to have lost the Champions League final, to be at major tournaments but not medaling. And I think when you think of Canada and what we've been missing, Vanessa's the poster woman for me of what she's done and become this incredible athlete and icon of the women's game in terms of what she's done for it. And how many Canadians.
She's here, Irene. She's
it's a picture.
Not in the green room anymore. She's on the show.
Even then, I think you go undervalued, and it's because we don't value our Canadians very much, and neither do we abroad. So it's always these opportunities you've earned. You put yourself in those situations, like you fought for it. And now we've got you playing for one of the best clubs in the world and the best tournaments in the world because you fought for your career and used a passport and then got to France. I love that story. And I love that you got involved when the Northern Super League was coming into conception. Like, what's it for? It's to make sure our Canadians have somewhere to play. Number one. I love that. So anyway, I wanted to get it off my chest.
Thanks, Rune. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if kind of transitioning into that, but just coming home as well. Right now, I hopped on the flight. I was on the same flight as Amandine Pierre-Louis, who plays for Saint-Etienne. And we were just talking about opportunities in Canada, how she came to be playing in one of the top leagues in the world, but also how she came to be playing for Haiti. I think that's a big miss for us as well, to have our player pool kind of be going to different nationalities. I think we've, kind of let ourselves down in a way, not having a league, to not be able to see these players day in and day out, and to have them in our system to, build on and to develop as well. I think she's a fantastic player, and hearing how her story and how she came to be playing for Haiti instead of getting her chance with Canada, I think is a problem that needs to be addressed, and hopefully moving forward it will, with the new league, but also with new leadership with the federation.
Yeah, and I think that, you're hitting that as well, like the chance to develop part, because I think we've talked about this before on this podcast, but not everybody develops at the same rate, right? And at the same time, and we talk about that, particularly with folks who kind of hit their peak a little bit later. They seem to sort of miss this window of identification and getting into the national team program. So I think I think we all can't really overstate the importance of having a league. The question I had for you, Vanessa, so there's a few players who join a club and I'm just like, oh yes, that's where you should be, obviously. And I think I actually texted Amy when you made the move back over to France. I was like, yes, obviously. And I'm always curious about when people really find the right environment, which I hope that's how you feel about where you are right now. But when people really find that right environment, what was it that led you to make that choice? And what is it about your current club environment that you like?
Yeah, I think everybody has different personalities and thrive in different environments. I think for me, having gone from Bordeaux to Angel City back to Lyon, I think I kind of discovered what motivated me in a sense. I think at Angel City, which, is a great club, etc. This is not to go against Angel City, but I think what I was missing at the time when I went there was that feeling of, I don't know if I belong here. I don't know if I, deserve to be here in terms of standards and how good of a player I am. I think when I moved to Lyon, I was back in the mindset of, I need to catch up to these players right now, or I won't be playing, kind of thing. And so that's the environment that I need as a player, and that's the environment that drives me day in and day out to push myself, to want to be better, to kind of open my eyes and try to take in all the information I can. And this was 4 years ago. It was an expansion team 3 years ago, an expansion team at the time. So that wasn't the environment that we had then and there. That the environment that I came into at Angel City was more, okay, everybody has to be a leader and everybody is giving their all to kind of form this team together. Whereas Leon, it was, this is our team, these are the standards, and you either need to meet us here or you're leaving. And that's the team that I needed to be at the time. And that's the environment I think I thrive in. I think everybody's different, obviously, because there's like the aspect of being confident, of being valued, of, you know, being the player that people lean on. There's all different kinds of environment that help you thrive. But for me, that's what I have at Leon. And I think that's what has helped me in the past 3 years get to where I am right now. And that's what helped me at Bordeaux as well. That's what helped me with the national team, is always being kind of that like underdog of, do I belong here? Do I, you know, like what am I doing here to get better, to be at these players' levels?
Is that something you think, Vanessa, you have because you came to the sport late, so you feel like you're playing this perennial game of catch up? And then how do you, as a professional, whether you're at club or playing for Canada, kind of reconcile those two ideas where I need to get better every single day so I can get to a certain standard that I set for myself, but also appreciate kind of the journey and where you are at that moment? Like, how do you do both?
Yeah, I think I'm 28 now, so it's a bit different than where I was 3, 4, 5 years ago, especially with the national team. I think now when I go into the national team, I'm no longer in the middle as one of the youngest. You know, I'm a dead set for being out because we have such a young team. So it's a huge difference between Leon and Canada in terms of experience, leadership, age. And so how do I reconcile it is I've learned over the past, I don't know how many years that I've been on the national team. It feels like forever after this summer, but it's only been like 4 or 5 years.
It was 2019 was your first cap, right? Is that right?
I
feel like we need remember. Laura Bryan from Rise Higher. She's the best for national team stats.
I know. When you came into Tokyo, in our year.
Yeah, I know. You came into Tokyo, you were like on a handful of caps, right? So like just that swing in itself, like bookended by those 2 Olympic experiences, which were vastly different. You yourself were so different as a player and as a person, you might say as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think you said it. I mean, you said it all, the different roles in between the 2 Olympics, but also the experience and the confidence I've built being at Leon and playing in those Champions League finals, feeling those heartbreaks, feeling the meaning of what a 90-minute game can be. You know, I think sometimes even back at the first Olympics, obviously it meant the world to win that medal. But I don't know if when you're that young, you truly know what 90 minutes means and like how you might not get those 90 minutes again. And how much it's going to hurt for the next 4 years until you get the opportunity to play again. And so I think that's the importance that you felt from a lot of players at this Olympics, especially with everything that happened and how much we wanted to be there and how much we wanted to keep going through, because we knew players that were there at the last Olympics, players who have felt those big tournament moments, knew that it might be our last. You don't know if you'll be able to play in a game like this again and to kind of capitalize. And so that's experience. And that's also stuff that you need to bring to younger players because, you know, they have their whole career in front of them. And maybe some people think, you know, I'll have another Olympic, another 2 Olympics, but you really, truly never know. And that for me is also leadership and things that you need to bring down to younger players. Whereas here in Leon, you're at a team where players have played finals, have won finals, have played in big tournaments, have played in anything there is to play, and they know that if you don't put in the effort at minute 1, you might not get that next game. And so that's stuff that I've learned and stuff that I've appreciated, and I try to take as well to national team.
Yeah. Do you think, Vanessa, you talk about Angel City and Lyon, and you talked about your first moves to Europe. Everyone is different. This is my coaching hat. I think as financial realities change in the women's game, I think it's a great reminder that if in your mid-20s, you're not in a situation that you feel and you knew you needed this to be pushed, to chase something, that you would have something left in the tank, that's not the right situation for you. There's situations that you've got to research as a player. Where's the best place that's going to develop me as a player? I loved hearing that from you, because there's certain players, Claire, Amy, and I know will have long careers. It's like a Sinky. Sinky at no point put herself in an environment where she was guaranteed anything until she retired, because she didn't want to play. I don't want to speak for her, but she didn't want to play to just play. She wanted to keep getting better, even when she was almost 40 or 40. And that attitude as well, to chase something. So that Lyon team made you push to a new level. It doesn't mean now you might not be ready for something different, but knowing at that time in your career. And as a coach, I'm speaking about it now, because I don't think all players have that. It's a little bit like, what do you understand who you are? What do you need? And you went and got that for yourself, which is the cool piece. Is like, you created the reality that you knew. And now you're in an environment where you expect to win. You expect, and everyone around you expects to win. And that has to come back to help Canada. It has to come back to help you. Like that feeling of like disappointment unless you win. That's something that you learn, and it never leaves you. I love that you did that for yourself.
Thanks. Yeah, I think you kind of put the nail on the head, if that's the expression. But I think like what you need also changes your career. Like I moved to Lyon when I was 25, which is kind of in the moment where you're starting to hit your peak. You know what I mean? And where you can develop the most, because getting into that 28, 29, that's where you're really, hopefully 30. I'm pushing it back at the closer I get to those ages. But what I needed at 25 and 28, 29 might not be what I need at 32, and isn't what I needed at 22, 23, you know? And so I think knowing yourself, but also knowing that what you need is going to change. And so I think of a player like Olivia Smith, for example, who is in Portugal, who's a fantastic player, but I think for her, being in Portugal at that young age is what she needed to gain her confidence and her first footing in that pro age, like scoring bangers, being needed by her team at Liverpool right now. Like she might not be playing in Champions League and those big tournaments and getting exposure to these big tournaments, but she's also putting her foot on that, like putting her imprint in that team and feeling the feeling of being valued and the pressure of, I need to perform for this team, because if this team is going to win, it's also going to be because of me. And we need players like that on the national team, especially up front. And so what she needs right now might not be what she needs at 25 or 26, when she's going to be hopefully, you know, keeping her with her development trajectory and playing it, you know, for bigger trophies, etc. But those environments change and everybody needs different things. And so, you know, that whole saying of one shoe doesn't fit everybody is dead on. And I kind of was raised also by a bigger brother. I started soccer late. And so feeling that like I need to catch up is kind of how I was raised, having to catch up to my brother my whole life. And so somebody else might be different, but that's how I gained my confidence and how I was motivated. But it's not to say it's going to be for everybody either.
No, everyone's different. I know Amy and Claire have questions, but I would just say that unless you've suffered an injury, I would say women hit their stride at 32. So you're good.
Love it.
I mean that. And I think women hit it later than men, and that it's this amazing. And you also just talked about starting late. Like these are ideas that people have put on us, like national team. Claire was probably 8 when she made the national team. How old were you, Claire?
I was 17.
17, like I said. Amy, how old were you?
I was 19. And before, when you said about hitting peak, you didn't say 32, you said 52, right?
Yeah,
you're
52.
Oh, it was 32. That's too bad.
I was 20. How old were you? How old were you, Vanessa, when you made your first?
What did we say? 2019?
Yeah.
Oh, 5 years ago. I was 23.
23. Like 23 is most countries have a under 23 team. We don't have it.
Right.
I know. Yeah. I was part of France's U23 team.
Of course. So we accelerate players through, and then the expectation. He was 15. You know, Claire was an old 17 making, you know, it's crazy what we expect, or what the numbers that we put on things at 28, 25, like where you are in your developments, where you are. That's like, it's crazy because I do think right now in Canada, without the Northern Super League, we unfortunately, if you haven't hit standards, your career is over because there was nowhere to go unless you chase something. So I just wanted to make that point because I do think a lot of players have that same thing being told to them. They've either started late or they're too old to do something. And you're like, how old was Martina, Amy? She was 27 when she made her national team debut.
Yeah.
Something
She
like
was,
that,
which was ancient.
Yeah, but what?
It's not, but yeah.
Crazy. She was important for us. Anyway, everyone has their own timelines. Amy, your turn.
No, I agree. Look at Mimi. I really do.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Which I think that, Claire, did you want to go ahead?
Oh, no, it goes back to something that Vanessa said earlier about, we commented on the Olympics and some things going on there. I don't know what you're talking about, but I wanted to maybe talk about that a little bit, and I'm not going to put you in a position of having to comment on anything officially, Vanessa, but I wanted to speak specifically about your performance because you talked about Olivia Smith going to Portugal and developing kind of a role of needing to score big goals and have her team rely on her. And I think you really assumed that role for Canada at the Olympics. And despite me wanting you to cool it with scoring goals as a center back, old center backs look really bad.
Evelyn did, because she had some hilarious comments throughout the Olympics where she was like, Vanessa in the box after Jordan's shot. And I've heard you talk about not wanting to be outside or offside. You were just concerned. You just didn't want to be offside. And then she's like, near post, left-footed shot. Only a center back would see that.
Yeah.
Which I thought was like the highest compliment, but also the best dig by a good pal of yours.
That is one of the funniest girls, I tell you.
Yeah, I just, I think that you filled that role, a very desperately needed role for that team in that environment and in that particular set of circumstances. I think you filled that leadership role really well. You were a great spokesperson for the team during that tournament, and whether you wanted to be or not. And you scored some of the most critical goals I've ever seen. Like, I think that goal, that near post left-footed shot, I actually put my head down on the desk in the booth and was breathing under the desk. Like, I didn't say anything. I'm pretty sure I didn't say anything for 2 minutes. I was just like, oh my God, thank God. What's that?
Great commentary. I was like, Vanessa,
great commentary. Yeah, it's not talk, actually.
Salacious, heavy breathing on the CBC broadcast. It was like,
it was more out of relief, but because I think that you putting yourself in this environment in Lyon, and I think it all really ties together because you really stepped into that role really well. And your role now as a goal scorer is not to be underestimated. And I guess it's not really a question. I just wanted to commend you for that because I think you did. I'm just going to talk.
I'm kind of pissed I deferred to you on that question. I'm not going to lie.
I
was being complimentary, Walls. Jesus.
I appreciate it. And you talk about being a broadcast, a spokesperson for the team, but that quote, it's coming back to haunt me every single camp. It comes up and I get mocked for it.
Really?
But I appreciate it. No,
Which
in
what did I miss?
The rallying cry.
We're a good team and we're a damn good group. And that one comes back to haunt me, especially from
years.
You were wearing when you were dressed up, because this is the one burning question. We have to ask you your Kevin Blue Halloween costume. Is that what you had around your neck? Because you had a quote on a piece of cardboard.
No. Kevin is I love Kevin, by the way. Let me preface this. And our whole group has a lot of respect for what he's doing and how he's trying to swing our federation around and bring it up with him. So let me preface this before I say I did not come into camp with the Halloween costume, and we found out he was coming. So he was the easiest person to dress up as because he always comes in the same outfit.
Bring this up here.
The same outfit. He had that exact outfit on underneath his costume, I'm pretty sure. It's always like a tight shirt or jacket, long shorts, the running shoes.
But Vanessa, you're missing one critical component.
And I'm getting to it.
Yeah, okay.
And so it's always the same. And he always sets us up in a meeting. And he's this positive guy, you know, that like loves to chat, and he's very vivacious, etc. But he has some of the best quotes you could ever think of without him even knowing. And so one of his first meetings, he brought us all in that outfit with his glasses on, sets his notebook that I have and my laptop, because he always comes into the meeting with his big notebook, and he's talking about our financials. And I don't know if I can say this, but you know, everyone knows we're in debt. The federation is in a bad way.
This is brand new information. No,
what?
No secret. And he just for an hour and a half kept going over his PowerPoint. He'd go, "It's bad, guys. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's bad. It's real bad." And he didn't even know that we would crack up every time for an hour and a half. It's bad. It's really bad. I'm honest. It's bad about financials.
I love the twang as well there. It's bad.
Yeah, it's bad. It's real bad.
Our generation,
Vanessa, quotes is the same way my quote from the Olympics gets repeated.
Okay, but what I was referring to is not the quote, is the vest. It was right there, Vanessa. He always wears a vest, does he not?
Yeah. I didn't have one. I didn't have one. This was the last minute. Everything I'm wearing is given to me that an hour prior by Claire.
Seems like you came
backpack, everything. I had to, It was not my best moment. I picked it up for Christmas. I bought a sweater, but listen, the year before, what was I? Who was I the year before? I imitated someone else. Oh, our physio, MC. You remember MC?
MC.
Yeah, that was a big hit. Yeah, that was a big hit.
We had a game in Toronto way before your time, and the president came in right before the game, and he goes, "We got no money."
Wait, who is this? Who are you? This
I'm not
an impression of.
We'll talk about it afterwards, but that whole team will know. We're like, well, we were literally heading out to the field to play. We got no money.
Oh.
Motivational pep talk. Everybody was hoping
all of
for.
Us, like,
okay.
We know.
Yeah.
We know. We have the thin shorts on, and
it's bad.
By city bus. We're aware.
I thought it was great though. That was an awesome costume for it being kind of off the cuff last minute. But I wanted to ask you one thing before we kind of wrap up here. I don't know if Claire or Rian have anything else to add, but we've talked about the year and how challenging it was, but how successful it was for you as an individual, but also from a team standpoint with the national team. You guys were undefeated in normal time. 2 camps in the fall where you didn't have a head coach. So what was it like for you guys? I mean, obviously there's a clarity within the group about what you want to achieve, where you're headed, but what was it like to not have any kind of clear leadership from a staff standpoint? I know you had Dee in there. I know you had other people in there, Cindy Ty for the last one, but I guess that the follow-up to that is, what do you hope for in the next head coach? Like, not names or anything, but if you could just conjure them up right now, what traits and characteristics would they have so that they're best served to lead you guys as a group?
Yeah.
Just a softball at the end here.
Yeah, so easy.
Yeah, I think the strength of this group, I mean, you guys set this all up and have built this as well for us. But the strength of this group is the group, is the environment and the personalities and the culture that we have. I think obviously more than just the Olympics, but the past 2 years have been hard for us as a group. I think what people have seen on the outside is obviously what happened at the Olympics, but you guys also, I have talked about it and have deep dived into it, especially watching our World Cup and how terrible that was. I think behind the scenes, there was a group that wasn't really fitting with the leadership. And you could see that from our play. You guys have commented on it. Obviously, we couldn't comment at the time, but the past 2 camps, obviously we didn't have a head coach, but we did have a group that was kind of like, let's just go play. And we didn't have any restrictions or any like, okay, you're a forward, you have to be in the pocket and you can't do anything else. Or you're a 9, all you can do is run it behind, and that's your role, and that's what you're going to do. And so there wasn't those limitations on players, and that's where you saw players like Mimi thrive, or like Olivia Smith thrive, and like players that just came in and are getting their first caps, just kind of like Nia Rose, like just go and play. You're here for a reason. This is the system. This is a formation. You know how to play soccer. You know, this isn't your first game. Just go play. And I think we hadn't felt that in a long time. And obviously they weren't our best games. But I think you could see from us the joy that we took in playing those games. And you saw players that we haven't seen really before on our team thrive. And I keep going back to Olivia Smith and Mimi Alidu, because as a player and as someone who always wants to win, I always get frustrated because these are players we could have had for longer than just these past few games, and who could have helped us. And so what I hope for in the coach that comes in, leading on to what I've just said, is a coach that trusts their players, but is also very open and trusting. I think what Bev did a great job as when she first came in was give a lot of players chances and everybody a fresh book, a fresh start. I got my chance really with Bev.
Fresh book isn't an expression, but it should be, Vanessa. I want a fresh book
cover.
for Christmas.
Yeah.
Well, a new page.
No, you're.
No,
I'm not taking the piss. Like, for real. That's what
I love it.
I translate from French sometimes, which doesn't come over, but
it's great.
Yeah, I think like a lot of players, her first camp, I remember at She Believes, and her second camp, etc., got their chance without any pressure, without any, this is what you need to do. And that's what you're seeing now as well with Nia Rose, Olivia Smith really starting to get her chance. Like, these players who have the talent to be here just haven't been trusted to just play. And I hope the coach coming in, that's what I would want from a coach coming in, is to kind of analyze our player pool. Obviously, the NSL is going to make it easier as well to keep track of, but to really look everywhere. I don't think, you have to play in a certain league to be on the national team. That's the beauty of our team, is we're playing everywhere. We have cultures from everywhere, styles of play from everywhere, and that kind of brings it all together with the national team, and we kind of learn from each other in that way as well. And that's, we've talked to Kevin about it, and that was my viewpoint, is just come in with a fresh start, give people chances, and learn to get to know them yourself, not just from stats or from what you see. Like, learn what they're like as a player, and don't just put them in boxes, but give them a formation where we could thrive.
Yeah. I think it'll be one thing that will be different, whomever comes in as the next coach, is that I agree with you. There's this whole pool of players that needs opportunity to be seen. We just talked about Amandine Pierre-Louis. There's always going to be players that are missed from the system, but something that is Canada's strength is the unity, but actually a weakness is we don't expand it enough or change players enough for people that always have to earn the right to be at camp. And that's something that is painful to go through. There's usually obviously a core group that turns over pretty regularly, but the national team is not a club team, and it shouldn't be permanent. And so everyone should 100%. Feel like they will have an opportunity to be seen or to get an opportunity to play for Canada. And that's maybe where it hasn't been. So just to add to what you said, because I think we will always lose players. That's every country has that. And as the game gets bigger, but we should always know about them. And it should be not because they don't feel like they'll ever get a chance to prove themselves. Sorry. I think that was.
No, I completely agree. I forgot to add that in, but absolutely. You have to be performing in club to be playing for the national team. It's not just because you're a great player or a good player doesn't give you the right to play for your national. You have to be performing day in and day out. You have to be playing. 100%. I'm with you on that. And that's also something we've lacked these past few years is kind of being given, okay, you're on the national team. Don't worry. You'll be here. You'll get called up. And I think that healthy motivation is something that we need moving forward. We're a top 10 team. Like, it's normal. It's absolutely normal. You look at all these teams like Spain, England, France, you have to be playing in club and performing in club to then play for, the best privilege in the world. 100%. I'm with you.
What you said about Lyon, right? Like, you went there and you had to perform, or you knew you weren't going to play, or you were going to get moved on. And that is, I just think it'll be an interesting, because for a long time, including when I was still a player, it was like the unit, and that was our connectivity. We were in a big pool, and so we ended up having to be like, and we don't want to lose that. So it's going to be a really interesting balance where we're like, this has to be challenged. It has to be an environment where you're not performing, you're not coming to the next team with some leeway. That's normal once
for
you
sure.
But
you guys also had like residency camps back in the day where you would live together for what?
Yeah, it was almost like a club team as well.
We didn't have clubs. I wasn't attached to anybody.
Exactly. And that was, I'm sure, like, that was also hard in its own merit. I can only imagine.
We had no money.
We had no money. From the stories I've heard from that, having to live that, especially Sync, it couldn't have been easy, but it also...
Especially Sync. We all had to suffer. Yeah. I will not. But you're right. The game has changed, I think.
I scored 3 goals for the national team. Don't undervalue that. 2 were against Singapore.
I had 5. Yeah, Vanessa, you're already up to 7. So we want you to keep that rate going. We want you to keep that rate and that quality of play that we're seeing you performing for Lyon week in and week out. And we hope that you might be able to win Champions League final. We're rooting for you.
Keep your fingers crossed.
Yeah. And anyway, we had tons of more questions, like especially Sonia Bonpastor to Joe Montemuro and how that shift is going. But we'll leave it for another time. You'll have to come back on. But Rian talked about peaking at 32, so you're 28 now. And I think even as a retired player, I talk in footballing cycles, not menstrual cycles, but footballing cycles. But it is the broadcast after all. Yes, important to destigmatize that. But you've not peaked. You're still kind of growing and progressing and evolving as a player, and we're here for it. We're proud of you. Thanks for coming on, and all the best for 2025.
Happy holidays.
Appreciate that.
Happy holidays. Yeah, what's planned? I know you're going to play pickleball. And first, how is that fair? Because you were like a kick-ass tennis player before you got into soccer seriously. And what's going on with the family while you're back home?
When is this episode airing exactly? Before I tell this story?
Today.
Don't tell it.
Later today.
I can't tell it.
No, just tell the story. Never.
We're next week.
I truly cannot tell this story until later.
We're never airing it, Vanessa. Just go.
We'll have to have you back.
If you air it after Christmas, I can tell you the story.
No.
But
no, I can't do it. But can you tell a story about, because you played, it was a Vienne and Gilles derby a little while ago, right?
Yeah,
in the qualifying.
I will say,
and then you also played pickleball against Evelyn. So I'd like to hear some stories from that.
I have told Ev, her greatest strength, as we all know, is her offense, right? Like striker, killer striker, but also her biggest weakness is her offense. Oh my God, at pickleball. You know, when you're like playing like go left, go right, go left. She's very attack minded. It's like serve, volley, return, volley, regardless of what her return is. And so it's just like go right, go left, go right. Because she's just like attack. You know, she's got such a striker. She's got no mind of, okay, maybe it's the right time, or what are the angles? You know, like as a defender, you're always thinking like, should I step? Should I not? Like, what's the speed of my ball? What's the angle in which like I should approach the net? How am I covering the most angles, etc. I don't think strikers have that notion. No. Or it's attack. Yeah. Right. So I will say we've played maybe like 20 games and she's won none.
I love that.
Maybe more than 20. There was one day, I think we were both so fit during the Olympics because of this. I think I also pulled my calf during the Olympics because of this pickleball. We would do our training. Yeah, obviously we didn't tell her to do it, but we would do our training in the morning. Like we were gold medal, like motivated. I've never trained so hard, especially Ev. We would train 2-3 hours, gym, etc. in the morning. And then at 9 p.m. we would have our good old, like, go train with the boys and club in Ottawa from 9 to 11 in a thunderstorm on the turf kind of thing. And then in between the day, the Euros were going on. So we'd have like the scores and the games on our phone on the bench. And we would just play pickleball for 3 hours in the middle of the day. It was so much fun. It was a cool little camp that we had going.
The physio is like calf injuries and like elbow tendinopathy. Like what's happening here? And you're like, it's weird. Lots of throw-ins, I guess. Yeah. Or
but like I killed all the fitness. I was doing great. But the rest of it, no. I I am usually humble, but I'm a damn good pickleball player. I will say.
I love it.
I will say, yeah.
All right.
I'm actually playing MC right now at MC the physio at 2. So I will be playing with my left hand to get rid of.
They know you play pickleball.
Yeah, she's she's this cute little like 40. How old is she? 40, 50, 50? 50
Is that how you're going to refer to us
call
after
older
this?
people cute.
Well, she's very cute.
Broadcast.
She's our camp mom. She's like the sunshine of our camp. When this all happened at the Olympics, she was like, well, I would not refer to Tank as cute, but
No, pretty not cute.
No, but she was like our camp mom for everyone. She would make these little motivational, like on napkins, quotes of like, go get them, you know, like these cute motivational, and just stick them in the toilet stalls. So like when you went to the toilet, you sit, and there were like 2-3 napkins, and they were so. I took pictures of the. Oh, she.
I love your example. Go get them.
I love that they're in the bathroom stalls because they sound very much like notes I used to put in like my kids' lunch boxes, like at school sometimes if they had like a stressful test or like a challenging day coming up, right? Like a little note on the napkin. But yes, also bathroom stalls.
But it's true.
Yeah, instead of like for a motivational quote, call this number, you know, like a very bathroom stall.
I have to send you
instead of for a good time.
Call Claire for a good time. Hashtag Salt Spring Island.
Quote, call the physio.
But things get derailed on these.
Yes, I know. Okay, Vanessa, thank you so much for your time. Please come back again, and happy holidays from all of us. And hi to Denis, because he follows me on Twitter and retweets all my Vanessa Gilles content. So big fan of Denis Gilles.
Yeah, he's a big Twitter man.
Twitter man.
I go, please don't tweet anything. Don't comment anything. You can just don't comment anything. Goes, no, but it's only positive. It's no problem. Like, yes, but don't. Okay,
just
I won't.
Stop
and
it.
then I go on Twitter and look, and it's like reply. Oh my god, he's cute. He's a big fan. Big fan of Canada soccer, of soccer in general. He watches more soccer than me. And so when you texted me your intro of, hey, it's Amy Walsh, he knew all about you. Don't you worry.
Oh god.
Yes, but my problem was, or my question was, I didn't think you would know about me, hence my intro. And you were like, come on, I know who you are. And I was like, you guys, Vanessa knew who I was.
I don't think you get to 100 caps for nothing. Come on. Come on.
Oh, you. Come back anytime.
Come on.
A story to hear anyway, Vanessa.
I know.
Story after Christmas, but appreciate
I could tell you when you stop recording, but I just truly cannot.
Well, we were gonna stay on and embarrass Rian, but we can just end it.
100% we're doing that.
Yeah. Okay, so it'll have to be another time, Vanessa. We're gonna boot you and we're gonna keep talking.
Sounds good. I think you'll figure it out anyway, but I truly can't tell the story until after.
Okay.
Please text me.
All right. Thank you so much again.
Appreciate you guys having me on. It's gonna take me 10 minutes to put all the pictures back up. But, it's worth it.
Bye.
Bye.
All right. Happy holidays.